G'day guys, so I've had a fair bit of interest in how I had my last quad bike set up. A little while ago I put a post up, I've brought a new quad, so this video will just be how I've got this bike set up that works for me. I guess I'll just run through the basics of it. So it's a Suzuki King Quad 500 four-wheel drive automatic with the CVT transmission. It's got selectable four-wheel drive with a front diff lock, independent suspension all round, and power steering. So that power steering really does make a big difference, and the independent rides a lot better than the old bike anyway. I start with this aluminium toolbox at the front. It just gives me spot to store stuff out of the weather. I'm out in all conditions on this thing, stupidly, so everything gets either wet or really dusty. So that was the first thing that went on. I had that made by a sheet metal worker, so it's well worth the investment to do that. Then on the back of that I bolt a padded shooting rail, which gives me a really good rest. And the important thing that I do with that rail is I run my rail forward, probably about a foot from the handlebars. A lot of people seem to run them up here or quite high. And the reason why I run it where I do is because if I'm up here, if it just sits there, I've got to support the back of the gun myself. There's that sort of body movement. When I put the rail where I've got it, I can push forward and I can get down nice and low, and I've got that second point of contact on the handlebars, and I just find that it makes shooting really stable. As you can see, the guns come in and out of the racks quite fast to shoot. It's probably why I didn't change too much from the old bike to the new one. In the front I've just got two what are they, Colpin rifle holders there, just the rubber ones, and I've got a twin one on the side here on a piece of bent aluminium that supports that holds nice and steady. On the back of the toolbox I've got this small flat bar that runs across, and that just lets me put these little molly pouches and stuff on it, which I just find I can change them around. Then, you know, I've got one there with a bipod and one for empty shells and things like that, so that's handy. On this side here I've just got a little tank bag or fender bag, whatever you want to call it, that I just put miscellaneous stuff in that, food, drinks, whatever. And I've got the saddlebags on the front, or on the where the tank would be. So this bike, the tank's at the back on this bike, so I had to put some Velcro on the body of the quad just to hold that there, and that's sort of where I put my main ammo. It's obviously fast, easy to get to when you're shooting a fair bit. I guess then if I go to the back, I've just got this little post here. This is just for my GoPro, just those shots that you see over the top of me. The one thing I find really important on a bike that you're gonna shoot off is a auxiliary exhaust. So this is a silent rider muffler. It attaches to the back of the stock pipe. It's completely removable, and it just takes that thump out of the engine. You know, a lot of you guys that have probably been on a property or been around quads and stuff like that, the noise that travels from these is that thump 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 thump, that engine exhaust note. This was certainly a reasonably loud bike. When you backed off on the throttle, it's a pretty quiet engine, but with this on here, it's ghostly now. It's still a quad bike, it still makes noise, but it's nothing like anything I've ever ridden. Even my old Honda, I thought that was pretty quiet. This thing's quieter again, so yeah, definitely worth an investment to put a good second muffler on for shooting. This little arm here, this is my new little secret weapon when I spotlight. So I used to just run an A-light on a magnetic mount and a couple of gun mounted torches, but as you know, I've since got into shooting with thermal and night vision, so I've mounted my XI scanner on this arm, which I always had. I used to run a Light Force spotlight on this years ago. So yeah, I've got the scanner and a red LED torch paired up on this with the dimmer control at easy reach, and I've got this removable screen here. It's an 8-inch LCD that the thermal image comes up on, and I probably gave it its first really good run last night, and I've got to say I hardly used the torch. I just drove around using that screen. I think I shot a few things with the 223 in the red light, but generally I was just using the thermal scanner and the night vision or the thermal scope. So it's that's a real game changer. It was really cool, especially in all this long grass. I could see stuff really clearly, and I had a lot of trouble seeing it with a light or the night vision. But it's yeah, that thermal certainly a game changer set up like this. Righto, so that's my new quad bike. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've got any questions on anything, just ask. This certainly isn't the be and end all way to have a quad bike set up. It's just what works for me.